Nigga, I'm whipping up straight crack. Wanna a ball on straight pack. I pull up on you like ASAP, yeah. Looking for me a good freak, me. Haters and ghosts cannot see me. Might have seen dollar on TV, yeah. Alright now. Trust me, you niggas just ain't that. Trust I be bringing the pain back. Stage chat, yeah. Hating on me, I'ma hate back. Silver or gold on my plate, black. You niggas bustin' supposed to train tracks. The last thing I came out was trippin', I gave him a ticket and he never came back. My spirit is old school like vinyl CDs and cassettes might go play me an 8-track. I'd rather run up in 100, never did me wrong, so I go get a made back. Any disagreeable emotion that you holdin', you just better change that, yeah. Yeah, shout out to Riri at ASAP. I'm like P. Diddy, just take that. Don't need no credit, bitch, I'm straight cash, yeah. Yeah, passing me a girl, don't make me grab you. Girl, you got me salty like some cashews. Just wanna know, can you just bring that ass through?
It's always salty.
Am I thirsty? Ain't nobody asked you. I was just drinking on green tea. I was just smoking on green leaf. I'm serving babies like Rick, yeah. Nigga, I'm whipping up straight crack. Wanna a ball on straight pack. I pull up on you like ASAP, yeah. Looking for me a good freak, me. Haters and ghosts cannot see me. Might have seen dollar on TV, yeah. Trust me, you niggas just ain't that. Trust I be bringing the pain back. Stage chat, yeah. A whole lot of thoughts in my head, might just give you a baby. Yeah, sitting around still thinking about all the pictures you gave me. Yeah, don't really give a fuck about all the shit you did on the daily. Yeah, just bring that mashed potato ass over here and get you some gravy. What have you done for me lately? Tell me you miss me, my lady. Your ex will be talking and taking and chopping and left them with dogs. They stressed out and chopped and we leaving on second and babies. I told you don't kid or don't play me. And we had a house party, only reason people dancing, he was squeezing random. We could see a tantrum, we believe we grabbed them. Need a person like me on your team. Get it working like the enemy. I'm a Mercury, we enemies. Yeah. Smoking on fruity like weed. The whole universe gonna need me. My flow is like water, no Fiji. Yeah. I was just drinking on green tea. I was just smoking on green leaf. I'm serving babies like Rick, yeah. Nigga, I'm whipping up straight crack. Wanna a ball on straight pack. I pull up on you like ASAP, yeah. Looking for me a good freak, me. Haters and ghosts cannot see me. Might have seen dollar on TV, yeah. Alright. Trust me, you niggas just ain't that. Trust I be bringing the plane back. Stage strap, yeah.
I'm saying, a little flight tarot card reading we're gonna get into real quick. Read the energies. Make sure you ain't too flaunt. Make sure you get your mind correlated, your mind right. These are things to be aware of during this Mercury retrograde in Virgo. You know what I'm saying? Even though we already did some readings of that, and Venus going direct and all those extracurricular energies and stuff like that, but that don't mean that's the end all and be all. That shift probably about over. Yeah, that was probably about like a week ago or something like that. So now we're getting into a whole new shift, and now you got to be prepared for new things, new obstacles, new circumstances, new situations, or the same current ones, just remodified. Some may need adjusted in some areas, you know what I'm saying? Then a lot of different other curriculum shit that you just probably flunked out in. But just peep the motherfucking game. Now, for the most part, when we start to talk about the energies themselves, because, you know, I like to break it down 12 minutes. Just kind of give me an excuse, you know what I'm saying, to kind of get liberated. We call it liberation. We call it circulation. We call it vibration. It's a lot of Asians, 8 nations. You know what I'm saying? Not the Asiatic group or whatever like that. We just talking about nations, not Haitians. You know what I'm saying? Not just all the nations in the Bible that they talking about. So even when they were saying the witnesses and Jesus rising from the flesh, it ain't saying your witnesses is the extra thoughts and feelings that in the spirits that's inside of the organs and stuff like that. That, you know, when your solar plexus rise, all those become a witness. Can I get a witness? You know what I'm saying? That once you understand that, now you ain't got to know that this is some external event. This is some message that somebody was trying to convey to you, that how they thought what happens to them after they died. You know what I'm saying? It really don't go no further than that, even though they was kind of like wrong. But I can see they starting point and think, all right, I can see why a flump human can come to those conclusions, you know what I'm saying, based upon trying to observe the mind. But other than that, that takes us into the tarot card, because the tarot card is just Now, I'm just reading the energies that they was reading before they even encapsulated a character around whatever expression some of these old warlords and rulers and they other halves was playing out. And they was sitting back and adjusting all of the negative traits of how that civilization may have failed. And they was sitting there analyzing all the positive traits of the civilization that they was within at the time. They is such as, you know, the allegories of the Jews, witchcraft at the moment, because that's where y'all getting these texts from. So even at that time, they was observing the positive outcomes that play out from, you know, these people in rulership. And this was their way of bringing themselves into rulership by bringing their things to the table. The things that they brought to the table was like stuff like philosophy, stuff like understanding the mind deeper than what we're reacting to as far as just the stimuli, but reacting to certain things. Oh, well, flies. Reacting to little things of that nature that may prevent future stimuli that lead into, you know, desires that may not be disciplined, that can lead to destruction to the body and stuff like that. And a lot of that curriculum was seen as could be utilized and stuff like that, as far as the Greeks and the other individuals that was actually in rulership utilizing more force at that time than the witchcraft of putting your mind in a cage without them. So, you know, the Greeks looked at it like, dang, we could put this in a situation where we don't have to hang everybody upside down on these crosses anymore, because we have someone utilizing this and actually doing it in our favor and helping us with a 1-2 and a little bit. So this is how the J got completed when they was adding a little allegory to that esoteric UN table with the Galactic Federation and stuff like that. And then as far as the Greeks and stuff. So esoteric currency is first if you want something to bring to the table, not you crying about what they have already brought to the table and made you build, and now you have to find ways to cry about it or give like your blood, sweat, and tears and all this extreme energy and stuff like that. That's really unnecessary, but they put you in these energy based on survival mode in order for you to obtain these things. And that constant train of thought, line of reasoning of all the things you know you have to do to obtain these things become the peer pressure, become the frustration, become the, well, can I do it this way? And when you can't be yourself, it turns into, when you ask that question, well, can I do it this way? It'd be a collection of ideas of monetary gain, shortcuts. You know what I'm saying? Try to get it in where the getting is good. Take advantage. But really, if you just be yourself, express your vulnerability in the right way. If you went through enough experiences to know how to adjust it, and then that turned into an ego, you'll be able to reach your destination a lot faster with little to no effort, other than your gifts and talents being a whole bunch of pressure and you having to prove things to others and give your blood, sweat, and tears to one of the society systems just to obtain a little bit of the crumbs that you still won't be fulfilled. And it may allow you to have a dry heart and a lot of resentment that'll be pushed towards unwarranted individuals and stuff based upon all the things you had to do to get where you was at. So it could be even people in your life that doesn't necessarily need unwarranted energy, but due to the fact of what you have allowed the external world to do to you, will allow you to give the external negative energy that you received from it to an individual who ain't warranted for that energy. So we have to be careful and check ourselves a lot of times too, that we don't allow everything we went through in our lives to become another way of us being hardcore and brick-minded towards individuals who don't deserve that type of energy at the moment. See what I'm saying? And a lot of times it can be justified. We can see that in micro versions where you just work a regular 9 to 5 and you had a hard day at work. So that energy got to go somewhere. And if you're not doing enough shadow work, then the way that you're doing the energy is being directed and misguided. And it might be towards a family member or a friend or a close one and things of that nature that might have been perceived as the wrong way when you started to express it. And then once you get out of that phase, because you did a shedding, you start to feel guilty a little bit. But in all totality, you shed it the wrong way. You misguided the way you was shedding your energy, and you misguided and directed it towards the wrong individuals. So that lets you know you're getting too distracted in the physical world without having that peace and time to know that how the physical world can affect you and cause you to react in negative ways that you may not be able to see at the moment due to the fact of just releasing and protecting yourself by just it being a natural trait that the body and the mind has. So when we learn ourselves, we learn how to do the natural traits that the bodies have, which is the stimuli and stuff, and be able to see it in real subtle levels to be able to keep a hold of it as a discipline. And this is what angels look at as bound in Abaddon, because one of these is like Abaddon. And it's like bound in that for 1,000 years, internally, externally, for a few weeks, for a few months, until you can deal with it. So anytime that face or character get out of its cage and it shows itself, it's not at a such extreme demonic, aka you expressing so much extreme natures about your failures or your desires, or your boosting energy, narc energy, or your lack of energy, so you're victimizing energy. All of those are just different phases and sizes and faces of Abaddon that you need to bound for 1,000 years, internally, externally, a few weeks, till you know how to handle that characteristics of yours. Then when it chooses to come out, once you deal with it, it don't come out as harshly, and therefore, even if you do make a mistake, another individual will give you grace, because they know the energy behind it is a person with true intent, so they didn't mean to do whatever they did, based upon a lack of awareness of whatever the event may played out as. See what I'm saying? But we got like 2 minutes left. I can't wait till the government stop hating on me and stuff like that, and they support me like how they do they puppets and celebrities and stuff like that and stuff. Because this is like, I'd love to be in like a big old building right now doing something like this and stuff, like real stuff, like, you know what I'm saying, like one of them coliseums and stuff. You know what I'm saying? How about the Barclays Center? How about that? So I wouldn't mind that. How about the Yankee Stadium? I wouldn't mind that. We'll go to Atlanta. How about the what they got in Atlanta? They got the what stadium is that? I think it's a car. I forgot the car lot. It's one of them stadiums I seen in Atlanta. So how about that one? So yeah, I think bigger. I think like Kanye and stuff like that. Y'all say y'all probably thinking small. In my mind, I'm thinking like that. Like, how about that? Really, yeah, State Farm Arena. Shout out to Say Uno, ATL. Yeah, how about that? How about State Farm Arena? How about that look good. That sound good. That look right good for the next Jerry Springer and stuff. Say stuff like that. That look real good. That stuff like that real good. Real good in my mind. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be a whole new way to teach. People don't know if it's a ceremony, a preacher ceremony, a college ceremony, a lecture ceremony, a teacher ceremony, a tarot ceremony, the Degrassi ceremony, a Makamehacho ceremony. Nobody know what it is. It's something new. It's a Uriel ceremony. And God told me don't call it nothing. That's the actual name. Don't call it nothing. All right, let's get it. God said don't call it anything that got anything to do with me. That got something to do with me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? God gave me that good spiritual, godly contradiction. That when I do it that way, it make all the sense in the world down here. So it'll be like nothing you never seen before down here and stuff like that too. Y'all, God give us all that good godly abilities and stuff. You know, I like to stay in that space. So now that's how y'all got an idea. Y'all just seen Uriel pull out a godly idea. You see what God do for us? A lot of y'all got blocked heart chakras. God can't come to no blocked heart chakra. Nah, God can't come to no block. God care about those who let go and stuff like that. And God like to feel sorry for the spirits that's strong. Like, yeah, look at this. Oh, okay, I'm going to give you all the golds of the world then. Since humans do you like that, I'm going to give you all the foundries and gold and make them even more matter. That's the space you want to be in. All right, now look. Aries, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, and Mars. Oh, yeah, so this is Mercury retrograde energies, and with thoughts, feelings, actions. So thoughts, masculine, feelings, feminine, actions, the child. So when a thought, feeling, mother, father come together, it's a child, and it becomes the expression of your characteristics. How you're going to be seen, even if it's not the physical representation, it's the character of it. So right now, these could be old things that come back based upon filter through the retrograde energy of Mercury. So it's going to be old thoughts, feelings, and the child, your actions that be expressed from these things, or what you may see externally that you attract. And these things may have something to do with mutable Virgo. So this for all signs that I break it down. It may have something to do with mutable Virgo. Be it mutable or having to adapt or adjust or reconstruct something so it can be seen as perfect, or you accept your imperfections as perfect in some way, so you can start not worrying about the wrong things type energy. And it might be a person, place, or thing, or a circumstance that you may have to worry about, reconstruct, readjust, work on, reestablish, or build some consistency in, or some form of building it so it can become one of your responsibilities via person, place, or thing. And it could be a previous thought that you had that's in that energy, previous feeling that you had that was in that energy, or a person, place, or thing, or scenario come back in your life. And this is going to be like, I hate to say this cliche term, but like the universe testing you to see how you deal with it this time, because it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. And you could deal with it the same way you dealt with it last time and experience the same negative outcomes, or you could deal with it in your new self now and you beat the retrograde and rise above waters. So whatever was needed, even if you was the one who had to apologize or however the case may be, or you the one who have to swallow your pride and allow other people to say I told you so, however the case may be, these things won't be carried along with you when you're going to the next shift. So you also pass this test if you planted a lot of bad seeds before we got here in the current situation. So that's how it play out on both sides. Now, get into Aries, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, and I was already in your energy and Mars, so the card already came out. But I had to break that down, because I meant to break that down before we get into everybody. But Aries, boom. 7 of Swords. So you got, so you could be dealing with an air sign, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, or just the energy that you could be experiencing, regardless of what sign that you're dealing with. And for the most part, this what may has to be done. A discussion, a reconciliation, or let bygones be bygones, or a message, or some type of sword. And when it's 7 swords, that's like thinking about the 7 planets. So that means there's unfinished business, but there's still cycles going. And without the sword, aka without a 7th day, without a cycle, without a awareness, without an expression of this is going to be an end or another cycle, then that's what's lacking there, and aka that becomes a 7 of Swords and a communication. Something has to be ended, or something has to be rebegan. And the reason why it's not like that in the first place is because all the swords in the middle, all the 7 planets in the middle, aka the time that have happened in between, the 7 days, the 7 weeks, the 7 months, the 7 years, however the case may be. So I'm just breaking down the knowledge, because I'm a teacher of the 7 of Swords card. But for the most part, in totality, Aries, you got to deal with your opposite energy. Libra, whether you got to conduct or reconstruct or readjust because it's Mercury retrograde, something that has to do with relationships or balance, or blending in your individuality, or separating it if you're in already a blended match and it doesn't match your energy. So you may be getting divorced during this particular time also, if you're in a marriage or a relationship as an Aries. Or you could be in a situation where you're just straight up dealing with an air sign, or any sign for that matter, but there's some discussion that has to be had for any blockages or tower moments could be cleared. Okay, now Taurus is Sun, Moon, and Ascendant of Venus. Now Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant of Venus. Now, if you're doing stuff like this and you're frustrated and confused and stuff like that in the middle of doing it, it's not for you. Anything that you're doing and you just enjoy doing it and stuff like that, that's when you know it's for you. I enjoy doing this. Like I'm just thinking in my head right now, like a building in the sky somewhere, and it's like an escalator steps people got to go to. It's like the building made out of clouds and stuff. Like, oh, so like I gotta stop thinking. It must be y'all Taurus's energy. Y'all Taurus always trying to make somebody think we could use money for things that ain't got nothing to do with reality. I said real stuff. I start thinking about what I gotta pay for and stuff like that. That I have to think about it, man. That don't even exist. Ain't no such thing as having a cloud building in the sky, the escalators. I said no word. We on Taurus right now. Let me shuffle again. Lord Jesus Christ. Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant of Venus. Lord Jesus Christ. Jesus, that's all y'all think about. All right. I don't know if I want to do underlining stories. Oh, we're doing underlining stories. Now, that's not for all y'all Tauruses, but it's for some of y'all, right? Some other individual is a hater trying to cut you out of something, or you're trying to cut them out of something because in your environment, you feel separate from them. So a lot of y'all may be going through a divorce, or a lot of y'all may be going through a breakup, or a lot of y'all may be indecisive about a job that you probably currently got, and you're indecisive if you want to stay there or quit, or some type of decision that need to be made, or a job that you probably won't, but the things that come with it is probably things you're not really wanting to deal with in some way. So you're going through that decision also and trying to even the odds and weigh it. So not for all you Tauruses, but some of y'all. All right, now. 3 of Diamonds. So during this particular time, y'all Tauruses, and then that underlying energy that I was just breaking down that can become that hater or this, that, and the third, be aware, because by this being the card that came out, it might be a Gemini, aka, or it could be a fire sign. It could be an Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. So be aware of these things. Or it could be any sign, but be aware of patterns and characteristics because you'll be able to read the energy. So if it got something to do with fiery energy, cardinal, mutable, or fixed, be able to read that through any sign and be like, okay, this might be the person, circumstance, or situation that might be trying to cut me out of something. Or if it's the Gemini energy, right? Something in your environment surrounding or something dealing with a conversation or communication that y'all didn't quite agree or y'all had to agree to disagree or some kind of concept. That might be the person that's secretly throwing negative, unwarranted energy at you. But it's so subtle that it might not be so external. So these are energies that might accumulate later on down the line. So you can nip it in the bud early. So keep that in mind too. Now, on a positive end, you can just be straight up dealing with a fire sign or any sign that matter. On a positive end, that deals with getting attention, creativity, or developing your imagination or expressions where you can start getting more attention when it comes to your surroundings, your environment. When you start to communicate these things and unblock your throat chakra, F is blocked at all. But due to the fact of it being and vice versa, you could be dealing with a Gemini, and the Gemini that you're communicating with or your environment or your surroundings, regardless of the sign, may develop some situation where you could get attention or have some passion or have some motivation in an individual, mutable, or fixed way that you could get attention in some way, shape, or form. So that's for you Tauruses, Sun, Moon, Ascendants, and Venuses. Now, Gemini's, Sun, Moon, Ascendants, and Mercury's. Gemini's, Sun, Moon, Ascendants, and Mercury's. Yeah, so y'all got to make sure y'all be aware, too, all y'all Tauruses and stuff, because, you know what I'm saying, it could be an indecisive time. And a lot of y'all had that underlying story, so, you know what I'm saying, it could be like a weird kind of circumstance and a situation. All right. Now look. Uh-oh. A lot of y'all may be indecisive. Oh, let me see what my daughter doing real quick. Hold on. All right. Now, Gemini's, Sun, Moon, Ascendants, and Mercury's. I don't even know. That kind of threw me off. I don't even know if I pulled a card for y'all or not. No, I didn't, though. All right. Now, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Ascendants, and Mercury's. Now, you got 3 of spades. Now, for the most part, you could be your own worst enemy during this particular time. Or you could be dealing with another air sign. So you could be dealing with a Libra, or you could be dealing with Aquarius, or another Gemini. Or if you're dealing with any sign itself, you could be in a situation where it needs to be a conversation. Or, like, now, this is the 3 of Swords. This is not always negative, especially not as negative as the 7 of Swords and things of that nature. So this means in your surroundings, you might just need to cut yourself out of something for something to be better. And you might not be aware of what you need to cut out of, like the 7 of Swords. Like, it may be things that you're still distracted by, and it doesn't appear to be anything going on at all. It doesn't appear to be anything wrong at the moment. It might just be a comfort zone or something like that. But it's something in your surroundings that's still cutting you out from something in the external world that you may be unaware of at the moment. There's not enough swords here to be on your mind or manifested events that's negative already via people, places, and things. These are situations that haven't accumulated yet, but they're still there. So you might have to look at certain distractions or habits that you got that may be appearing to be good right now, but for longer purposes, like it might be blocking you from doing things that could be accumulating in things that you actually want to do and things of that nature. So you could be your own worst enemy, being a Gemini during this particular time, or dealing with another air sign or another Gemini, or any sign for that matter. But this may be the main center focus. Something that deals with this person is it's almost like the devil card also. It's like a person distracting you or whatever like that. Even though or it could be a place, or it could be a thing, or whatever like that. So you're not looking at it as something you need to cut yourself out of, but this what the guide is telling you, that it is something that's distracting you from something that could be better. All right. So you could be your own worst enemy, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Mercury, or pay attention to your surrounding. There's things going on in your surrounding that's fully blocking you from being free from whatever that you necessarily need to do. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. Let me do that again. All right, that's better. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, 4th house. All right, so you got your opposite energy. So for the most part, you need to gain comfortability with being more uncomfortable. There's situations where you're too much in your comfort zone and it's building blockages for you in some way, shape, or form. And you need to start expressing or experiencing how to deal with yourself in situations that you're unfamiliar with that ultimately becomes uncomfortability. So this is, you could be dealing with an earth sign. This is the 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Clubs. So you could be dealing with an earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, or straight up Capricorn energy itself, regardless of the sign that you're dealing with. It may have something to do with you trying to reach the top of something to deal with status, your business, your career, when dealing with this person or place or thing or circumstance, or just for security, stability, or the inability of you being in this position in some way, shape, or form, and that becoming old thoughts, actions, or feelings that you may think that you need to go back to in some way, shape, or form in order to get rid of this low-key tower moment also right here with this 10 of Clubs. So you're thinking extremely about your pinnacle energy, aka your earth stability, security, support, your lack of money, or if you have a lot of money, you're stressing out about how you're going to conduct it and where it's going, if you're spending it on the right things or not. So you might be heavily in that energy and stuff like that, where you're over analyzing things you don't necessarily need to, or you're straight up just dealing with an earth sign, and this earth sign is making you constantly think about your money, or they constantly making you broke in some way, shape, or form. So that could be get ready to happen during this particular time if you're not already experiencing this, being a Cancer, someone in the ascendant. So you have to learn how to like spread your wings a little bit to be able to support yourself to get rid of this tower moment. All right, now Leo's Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. Yeah, so y'all Cancers, y'all got somebody on y'all back. It's somebody on y'all back that constantly forcing y'all to remind y'all about y'all money or something like that, or y'all security, or y'all living condition or something like that. Like somebody like a lot of y'all might got somebody trying to get you a job or something like that, or get you a place to stay, or some type of stuff like that. Like a lot of stuff you probably uncomfortable with at the moment. And if you probably do something else, you don't have to do that. And whatever else you do will probably manifest a better situation. But for the most part, you having to do that is the situation you want anyway. It's like you can get confused, where it's like you don't want to do something to get something that you want, but you don't want also do the easy route to do that anyway. It's like confusion. So all right, Leo, somewhere in Ascendants, and yeah, that's about it right there. Okay. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. All right, boom. 3 of Hearts. So for the most part, it's the 3 of Cups. So there's something in your surroundings, your environment, something you're familiar with, even if it's not in your surrounding. It could be anything you're familiar with, something you do online, however the case may be. But there's something in your environment, just the 3 of Cups, that could create an opportunity, a connection, and an emotion, whether it's your business, career, love, matter, however the case may be. You're dealing with something that you're familiar with, and you could be dealing with a water sign, so you could be dealing with a Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer, or you could or just a conversation, whatever the conversation or communicating or in your environment or what you're familiar with, dealing with the water sign or any sign with that kind of energy in some way, shape, or form, can create opportunities in some way, shape, or form. Or you could be dealing with a Gemini itself, and when you're communicating with the Gemini or in some way, shape, or form, it might be situations that deal with sharing a cup or some emotion or some connection or creating an opportunity in some way, shape, or form. So, so that's for or for any sign of that matter. But so for it could be that same type of scenario, or it could be the Gemini or the water sign, or someone who got them or in that both in their chart. All right, now Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants and Mercury's. Who else was their own worst enemy? Was it Gemini? Y'all could be your own worst enemy also, the square sign, Virgos. So during this particular time, you got the Six of Swords. So you could be your own worst enemy during this particular time. Now, first and foremost, let's start here. You could probably be dealing with an air sign, a Libra, Aquarius, or a Gemini. And the situation that the communication or the air sign or any sign for that matter that's presenting this air kind of situation where there's communication that needs to be had. It may be something about attention seeking, jealousy, someone trying to be too forceful, demanding in some way, shape, or form, too worrying, too stressed out, and things of that nature. Or you could be straight up dealing with your own worst enemy, which is yourself, or dealing with another Virgo in some way, shape, or form, or any sign for that matter, and situations that is playing out in is things that make you stress or have to worry or have to put things into perspective where you have to stay on task to help that responsibility sufficiently and things of that nature. And it might be a lot of struggle because there may be a lack of communication, reciprocation, networking, you know what I'm saying, access to other things, because there's six swords in between. So there's too much attention or things that have happened that built up too much blockages for things to be in between. So there's too much space in between in some way. Thank you so much for the donation, Peter. I appreciate that from the bottom, Mark. So that means ego. These are two egos also and things of that nature. The thought ego and the feeling ego. So right now when it comes into you Virgos, y'all can be your own worst enemy, or y'all could be dealing with something that y'all worried about and not willing to have a discussion or need to have a discussion because the situation is really focused on stability, security, support, or things that deals with our responsibilities. Or it could just be a conversation that needs to be had based on lack of communication, too much space there, which built tower moments or hermit modes and things of that nature when it comes into your responsibilities or what you do in a day-to-day routine, and not having no support there in some way, shape, or form based upon the lack of communication, the lack of the air element. Or you could be dealing with a Gemini, Libra, or an Aquarius that's putting you in this energy of making you feel like you probably got to get a job or something like that. All right, now Libra, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, and Venuses. And when I say a job, that ain't always necessarily mean an actual job. You could be in a relationship with someone and someone make you have to fulfill an emotion that they just came up with as a new insecurity that you got to catch on to. That's actually putting you to work. And then you be like, dang, this person feel like now I got to make them walk on eggshells here too. And that could be another version of it within y'all marriages and stuff, or your relationships, or, you know what I'm saying, siblingships, friendships, associationships, co-workerships. All right, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, and Venuses. Let me do that. Let me redo that over. Y'all got cold feet about something. Y'all got cold feet about something. Or y'all felt like y'all made the wrong decision about something. And thinking, keep constantly going back over to see if you can do something to change your decision without looking bad. Ooh, pardon me. Now all y'all, just some of y'all. Okay, you could be your own best friend right now in some way, shape, or form. But for the most part, dealing with your opposite energy. Well, not technically, but it could a piece of one of these diamonds, right? Because one of them is Aries. So for the most part, in a nutshell, you could be dealing with your opposite sign, Aries, or another fellow fire sign, which is one of your sextile signs. You could be dealing with a Sagittarius or a Leo, or any sign for that matter, and it may be possibilities of getting attention or feelings being expressed in some way, shape, or form, or some type of creativity or ability being able to be obtained in some way, shape, or form, based on if that good communication is there, sharing and matching each other's energy or others' energy, or whatever job or career that you're reaching for energy, and having good reciprocation and balance, good Libra energy there. Or you could be dealing with a Libra, and this balance or fairness or this communication or this sharing of energy could help y'all get attention. Or the circumstance may be Libra-in. It may be a Libra-like job. It may be a job like the library or something like that. And that allow you to get of attention or passion or motivation, or be inspired or inspire others to be able to gain attention from that in some way, shape, or form. Thank you so much for the donation, Kat. I appreciate that. Real stuff. So if you express yourself and learn how to gain comfortability with uncomfortability, aka your opposite energy, you could be your own best friend during this particular time. And that outside energy you created, that's opposite, you get familiar with it and you'll realize, oh, it ain't these experiences that's manifested from it ain't as bad as I thought it would be. You know what I'm saying? And then therefore, boom, you become your own best friend by creating that external fire, passion with your communication style based upon you. Or you could just be straight up dealing with another Libra or any sign for that matter that create a situation where you feel like when y'all discussing things, y'all create more fairness and balance other than opposition and competitive and secret secret negative energy. And that could get you attention. Or you could be straight up dealing with a fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo, and that balance and communication that shared can create a situation and get you attention and persevering energies and stuff like that. All right, now Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant is in Mars. Yeah, that was fast. Five of Diamonds. So for the most part, when it comes to y'all Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant and Mars is right now. Five of Diamonds. What this means is you are emotionally connected to something that's dealing with something that can get you attention, something you're interested in, or something that can destroy you if you go too far. But in a nutshell, you could be dealing with a fire sign. You could be dealing with an Aries, Sagittarius, or a Leo. And for the most part, this situation could be Leo in general, where it set the stage for a feeling to be expressed or some competitive energy when it comes to who's getting attention, who's not getting attention. Or it could be a situation where, let's flip it around, you can just be dealing with a Leo, but there's a lot of extreme other mutable energies when it comes to fire. So there's you trying to get attention or give attention, or you trying to be prideful, or you around other prideful individuals, whether it's your business, career, job, or love matter, or your partner or sibling or coworker or associate. And for the most part, it becomes a situation where either or can get the attention for whatever the outcome may be, where one person may get all the attention for all the wrong reasons, another person may get all the attention for the right reasons, another person may get all the attention by just being a spectator there, another person, you know what I'm saying? So these are the situation that you in. Real spicy situations that don't even necessarily have to be that spicy when it comes to whatever that you're directed to. So as long as that you're aware of that and see that from a mile away, you'll be able to stop that from a mile away and be able to not be so allow a situation like that to go too far. Because you're the spiritual adult. Once you start to be aware of something, you have to, just like you on the road, you got to drive for yourself and others. In your spaceship, you got to fly for your own spaceship and others. AKA, you got to use your mind and use other people's minds, especially if it's people you care about. They can be so spiritually lost into a desire that their spirit is so much in a sunken place, they being took over by other desires with other spirits in it that you know better than them. So just adding on to whatever they trying to make you add on to will cause the situation to go further than it necessarily need to go, because you can see things in a further realm, in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. So you could stop things in the solid world because you know better than them. And whatever you're doing, they may not understand at the moment that you're not feeding whatever purpose that they're attaching themselves to you for. But when time go, they'll also realize that the situation ain't leading to y'all going through an argument or anything of that nature, because y'all didn't build a relationship on whatever that they was trying to drag you down to. So this is how you be the spiritual adult, and you save you and your relationship with your family and friends and associates that don't have to be a bridge burner scenario or animosity. So this is all the scenarios that you may have to go through during this particular time, why things being so spicy and it being your square energy. So you're going to be dealing with a little frustration at this time also. So just try to harness it down. Don't get into no manipulating, stinging energy, and just learn that everything ain't about you, even if it was a weird fart cloud energy directed towards you. Deep down, especially from the people that gave it to you or the person, it wasn't about you during this particular time. Just everybody going through retrograde, Mercury and Virgo to be exact. So for the most part, that's for my Scorpios. Now, Sagittarius is Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, and Jupiter's. Y'all trying to be sophisticated, man, because that was a clean shuffle right there. Y'all trying to be real sophisticated. Thank you so much for the donation, Phoenix369. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Real stuff. I'm kind of far away. I usually be closer. But I'm trying to help y'all see the cards. He said, I appreciate you too. Real stuff. And now Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, and Jupiter's. Ouch. Pardon me, y'all. I'm sorry. Getting on my condition. Ten of Spades. Who else had this? No, somebody else had the Ten of Pentacles. So don't worry about it. You got Ten of Spades. You got to worry about your goddamn self. So for the most part, here's the thing. Now, you could be dealing with an air sign, Aquarius, Libra, or a Gemini. And there may be a discussion that needs to be had that deals with a status, a position, a boss, some money, or security, stability, support, safety, and how to get there, and how to initiate and use whatever you need to use to get there, or how to be used to get there in some way, shape, or form. Because, you ain't even going to know how to use others if you don't know how to be used. You ain't even going to know how to teach if you don't know how to be a student. So don't get confused and trying to pick one of these things, especially on the other side, like teacher and using other individuals, and you don't even know the other side. You're going to start to be seen as a manipulator and a self-entitled person without no morality. And then you're going to be wondering why your manifestations is not materializing. And that goes for all signs. But specifically Sagittarius right now, you're dealing with the Capricorn energy. And it may be filtered through an air sign, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. And these conversations that need to be had may have something to do with your status or something like that. Or someone trying to hate on your status or cut you out of a status that might have these air qualities in some way, shape, or form, regardless of the sign or specifically those air signs. Or, and vice versa, you could be dealing with a Capricorn. And when you're dealing with this Capricorn, it may have something to do with competitive energy, you being distracted by them, them being distracted by you, or them trying to cut you out of something, or you trying to cut them out of something, or you having to put yourself into a situation where there's a conversation that needs to be had to clear a tower moment. So it can even be reciprocation to a certain degree. Not reciprocation, but yeah, reciprocation, or because there's a lack of communication or updating to see if you want to be hired, or to see if that interest is interested, or however the case may be. Or not quite Seven Swords, but in that aspect, it can lead to something that has to do with your status if you don't do these things. So you won't be able to make money, that type of tower moment. So you better, so be careful of your relationships and your circumstances that don't create no fogginess around your ability to be seen a certain way, like this status or this boss, because it could create a whole bunch of swords that, without communicating and separating yourself from whatever character that can block you from being in this tense space and being all this shade, without having a blocked throat chakra right now, it can block you in areas that you ain't even participate in yet, just by your character and how you're seen by the gatekeepers in that area from a distance. So you want to make sure that you put your energy out there so you can have your status solidified, and make sure that if you're dealing with the air sign or the Capricorn, that the conversation is had. All right, now Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants of Saturn. Yeah, so Sagittarius, just keep up on stuff. Like, keep up on messages, and keep up on your calls and stuff. You might got missed calls and stuff like that from managers and stuff like that. If you put in certain things, keep up on if you're ordering things online and stuff like that. Keep up on the date that is supposed to be coming and shipped and stuff like that, because there could be things that trip and it comes longer, or it don't come at all. A whole bunch of flunked out Mercury retrograde type stuff. So keep double check. Stay in double check energy. Stay in your opposite energy, Gemini type energy. So learn how to get uncomfortable. Learn how to gain comfortability with uncomfortability, aka communicating and learning, and not always just trying to be hands-on, and learn as you go type energy. All right, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, and Saturn. That's actually what I gotta do, because I ain't even get a chance to go on my emails. So I'm gonna do that right after the live stream. Okay, this is what came out. So Capricorns, you at the jackpot. Jack of Wands. So for the most part, you could be dealing with an Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo, and it may have something to do with hitting the jackpot or some Aquarius-like energy, aka you could be associated with this fire sign or any sign for that matter, but they are bringing a lot of feelings or expression or creativity or inspiration or ways of seeing things. That and then for the most part, or it could be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. And for the most part, once you associate yourself with that energy or those specific signs, it could be a lot of communication or a humanitarian or supporting of each other energy going on. And probably corporations, communication. I mean, corporations or what's that entrepreneur spirit energies going on. Or you could be dealing with a straight up Aquarius. And anytime you connect with this Aquarius, y'all can get attention, or you get abilities to be able to come up with new creative gifts and passions and inspirations and things of that nature to be able to get attention on your own by being a part of whatever the Aquarius got you associated with. So keep that in mind too, being a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, and Saturn during this time. So Capricorns, don't be afraid, even if you have to be the employee at times in any type of situation. I ain't even dealing with a job, probably just amongst family and friends. Don't be afraid to participate just because you might not be in a position that you see yourself always being in every position. No, participate, and just participating, you will develop a position for you that may be even better than whatever one that you was getting ready to try to be confused by to jump into secret competition to people that you actually care about from. So you got to be careful too. All right, Aquarius is Sun, Moon, and Ascendant and Saturn. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it ain't all about the check you getting at the time and you think you could get a bigger check. Sometimes it's about just the reputation that you build in as the consistency in that area. Then when the time come to be, you have a better opportunity next time and better stability and not being in that weird energy. So that's what my Capricorn. Now, some of y'all Aquarius has got a blocked solar plexus. You're not being expressive enough. You're not being seen enough. You're running away from the area in your body and the chakra there, which is the sun, which you naturally be in. When you choose to be born, you made your solar plexus care more about the area like your shins and stuff like that. So you care more about others sometimes, or how you are perceived sometimes, other than just setting the stage for you to be seen, regardless of those other things and those spark clouds that might take you into ghosting in some way. So this is causing you to have a blocked solar plexus during this particular time, dealing with your opposite space where you choose to put your solar plexus at, that rules this house anyway. So you don't even really like to be there a lot. So you like to play devil's advocate even amongst yourself a lot, even to other people around you that you care about. Right now, you can't do that right now. You have to put yourself in a position that people can play devil's advocate to you if they even would do it. You have to express yourself right now. You got a blocked solar plexus. Now, and then it's the number 6 card at that. So for the most part, 6 of Cups. So one of the reasons you may have a blocked solar plexus and you're not willing to express yourself because you think that you might put yourself in a vulnerable situation and give somebody the benefit, or give somebody the what they call that? Give somebody the I forget what they call that. Satisfaction. And you ain't quite trying to get somebody the satisfaction to feed their ego of what they think that they proved you right about, or something, proved you wrong about it. So right now with the 6 of Cups, you're paying a whole lot of attention on your emotions and who to give it to or not. And there's a lot of space in between too. So there may not even be a situation of a combining or an energy where there's an attachment that cup can even be gave to. So it's just an observation at this moment. And you're paying a lot of attention to it. But you got a whole lot of love to give. You got a whole lot of cup to give. Whole lot of water to give. Whole lot of emotion to give. You probably got a whole lot of opportunities you can make, whatever this person, place, or thing that you got in mind that you want to reciprocate to in some way, shape, or form. But it's not enough energy blending it together. It's too much space there, whether it's time or what have been done for whether that business, career, or whatever that love matter or case may be, for it to connect with all the things that you're paying attention to that you want to give. So you could be dealing with a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And this might be what you worried about, stressed out about, like Virgo energies and stuff like that, and might need to try to work it out or try to make it work out in some way. Or you could be straight up dealing with a Virgo, and this Virgo that you're dealing with is with this cup that you're trying to share, but it's too much space in between. You know what I'm saying? So there's some type of emotion that you try to get in all the mutable fixed or cardinal ways, where you're trying to initiate some type of emotional connection, or you're fixated, somebody's stubborn in an emotion, or someone's confused about the emotions. So initiate, Cancer, stubbornness can be played out, Scorpio, or a lot of confusion, and each party don't know which either or think, or even if the manager want to decide if he's going to hire you or not, aka Pisces type of water. And this is what you're worried about at the moment based upon the Virgo energy, or any sign for that matter, but these may be the circumstances that play out for you at this particular time. Now, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Ascendants, and Jupiters. Uh-oh. Stuck energy. Some of y'all feel stuck in something. Whether a responsibility, circumstance, situation, relationship, living condition. Some of y'all feel stuck. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle again, so I can get all the Pisces energy. The Pisces that's not stuck energy too. So this reading will have the stuck Pisces and the non-stuck Pisces all be able to pull out from the one reading. There we go. Uriel being a real spiritual god now. All right, now boom, let's get it. Seven of Cups. So for the most part, there's a lot of emotion or something like that some Pisces want to communicate in some way, shape, or form. So in this aspect, this for the blocked Pisces out there, this might be why you feel blocked. The inability to communicate this cup. So it ain't the Seven of Swords, like a reconciliation or whatever like that. This is a seven of cups. This is I'm ready to communicate this. I'm ready to tell you, can I marry you type stuff. I'm ready to tell this manager I'm all in. I'm not indecisive no more. This is like one of that, where there's a whole bunch of cups that want to go somewhere, and it's in the form of communication. So for the most part, you could be dealing with another water sign such as yourself, and you could be your own best friend also if you utilize the energy right based upon communicating. But at the same time, you could be dealing with a Cancer, yourself like a Pisces or a Scorpio. And the situation is that can create a lot of opportunities is when there's some fairness, there's some balance being happening in some way, there's some sharing going on, there's some fairness going on. Or you could straight up be dealing with a Libra, and the situation itself may be a situation where y'all communicating and y'all sharing emotions, and these emotions that y'all sharing is creating deeper connection that's concealing blockages in some way, shape, or form. Or it could be any sign for that matter, and these are the circumstances you may be dealing with. Whereas any sign, and you're sharing the emotion or whatever like that via communication and reciprocation and things of that nature, and sharing whatever's on your heart. That's all these cups, all these emotions, all this love. Or it could be a scenario where there's a lot of emotions involved that has to deal with fairness and balance that actually needs to be expressed in some way, shape, or form. And that's for all my Pisces out there. All right. And that's the previous thoughts, feelings, and actions or people that may be coming back also. That these energies may be developed in. Ooh. All right, I'm gonna go for these last 7 minutes with y'all. So that's the tarot esoteric reading. So now the last things we gotta break down for the spiritual mission is the numerology and gematria for this Super Tuesday voting season thingy that nature. So I guess I'll break that down tomorrow. Then I should be not halfway, but almost done with the whole mixtape, things of that nature. Then reach these last appointments and stuff, and then I'm ready to do whatever some other God mission. Real stuff, you know what I'm saying, out here. But other than that, this is about keeping spiritual track of things, so we know how to do the real shadow work, and we don't get confused like it's something that's something mysterious or something. I'm gonna say shadow work is just the things you deal with inside of you. And when you look inside of you, a lot of the things y'all deal with that's negative is your insecurities, your lack of know-how, the lack of abilities that you think you don't have and stuff like that, which is an ability itself. It's a vulnerability on a small level. The things you don't have, nothing. That's closer to God. When you go there, don't complain about that. Jump in that space and develop an ability there. Learn something about that space. And that space you'll be able to take something in that space and direct it towards something that everybody already do or something you want to do anyway, and it will allow you to persevere a lot further and faster, whatever that goal, gift, or talent is and stuff like that. So when y'all pity yourselves based upon y'all lack of having nothing in whatever area, especially if you spoil, you'll still find somewhere where nothing at. Anybody can find God. You can be spoiled, have everything in the world. You'll find something that your parents didn't fulfill as an emotional or mental state, as a form of being extreme and making that small problem bigger. But it's just another version in the spiritual world of all of us being searched for God, regardless of what situation we created for ourselves in the physical. So it's all still to the good. You know what I'm saying? Just learn that once you become older and older, if you are shelter-minded like that, and learn that that may be a little mistake and maybe a resentment, and for some, in a lot of areas, you got it better than a lot of other individuals, but don't be so hard on yourself and give yourself grace because you listening to Uriel now, and you know, all of us go through this in our levels, and you going through that in your level, and what you going through, trying to find God, trying to find nothing somewhere. So when a person got too much of something, they always try to find God. A person that had too much money and end up being Whitney Houston. You know what I'm saying? End up being Aaron Carter because they got too much access and utilize the money to the things that they want to access to get. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, they had too much access to them pills, too much access to their habits. And money only over-exaggerate what you already are. You see what I'm saying? Good spiritual knowledge, man. How can you hate me, YouTube? I don't get it, YouTube. How can you hate me? I just don't get things sometimes. I be thinking I'm getting out of all my egos, being from the hood, the trauma and stuff, and being the most nicest thingy in the world that's new, that could come to all shades, all ages, all right, and then y'all make me feel like that ain't good enough. And when I say y'all know I ain't talking to the chat, I'm talking to everybody in the world. So I'm specifically directing that towards the directors at YouTube and stuff like that. I feel like y'all should be like everybody else in the world. Like, why y'all so compromised? Like, why y'all so structured? Like, why y'all, you know what I'm saying? Lighten up a little bit. Lighten up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I can be like this on both pages. Lighten up a little bit. It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep. I don't feel like it's that deep. Y'all just making us feel like we got way more power that we didn't even know we had. You know what I'm saying? We ain't know we had influence behind the scenes at the round table in politics and stuff. And to YouTube, y'all started demonetizing us and stuff. Now we like, oh, dang, is that deep? We influencing that. Now y'all making the second thing. And you know what I'm saying? It ain't that deep, though. It ain't gotta be that deep. It ain't gotta be. Y'all making it like that. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. That's how I feel. I don't know how y'all feel back there as directors and stuff, and how y'all trying to correlate y'all apps and stuff like that. I don't know how y'all feel, but we the people that built y'all stuff. You don't want to be no YouTube without us, without chats. Shout out to the Subconscious Community Soul Group and area content creator and stuff like that. That's why I made that post. That post was for us, and that's why I put Soul Group Subconscious Community at the end, because that's like us speaking to the world. Protection for all content creators, spiritualists, astrologers, tarot card readers, protection from all. And reason why I put Soul Group Subconscious Community specifically at the end too, because I know all y'all don't do these things. So I just included y'all with me. We all the same thing because we all need protection too. So, and then we're giving protection to them too. That's not part of our soul group, but they're fighting the same wars we're fighting. And because it's a tricky game going on out here, and if we don't push out energies that we're trying to match that we want to receive, then that's not us actually practicing what we preach, regardless of what we're going through, and we're getting the highest resistance from the government and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's still up to us to not allow the external spirits to drag us down for us to act just like them and then be entitled about it because we think we deserve to act like that. No, it's about us having the ability to change how we want to change. And then that's when God see us like, okay, I'm using them as a vessel to bring some new things down here that'll manifest everything that they weren't even thinking about before. You know what I'm saying? Real. Thank you so much for the donation. Playboy Cordy, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Real stuff. It's going to last the part like next month. Or something like that. I didn't really check. Because I can really count it on my head. But I forgot how many days we was already in it. If I were to remember how many days we was already in it, I would have been able to tell. Because it's all a calculated phase. All you got to just know is the times and stuff. I forgot how long we've been in the retrograde. We've been in the retrograde for how many days? Let me see. Okay, it started. Let me see. What's today? Today is It's about to be Sunday. So today is Saturday right now. It was like Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. I kind of forgot. when the retrograde started in Mercury. So it might even be sooner than what I said. But other than that, yay. You know what I'm saying? Just going through these energies and stuff like that, right? This is what we about to be experiencing now. So we're not too much in the past, we're not too much in the future, but we're taking past situations that come from the retrograde and learning how to adjust it so we don't experience the same thing in the future. So it's really all about the present. The present is what it's all about. And that's how we create our own presence. And that becomes an energy, the star on the top of the Christmas tree that you're bringing down to express down here. Giving your fruits and your labors as presents down here as gifts, as your creative gifts and talents. That's why we even started to create these terms and calling them things outside of us, like the Christmas tree and presents up under it and stuff like that. These are all allegories of things that we're calling inside of us first. Then we're externalizing these things after we practice these things and be like, okay, that's what it is. That's the physical correspondence of the essence that we're observing, that we all have access to in all of our minds. You see what I'm saying? And that's being able to see the world for what it is right there. You know what I'm saying? That's being able to see the world for what it is. So you don't get lost into what you think the world you want it to be, based on a desire that you're lost in. And, you know, that's limited. Coming from your background, there's billions of people in the world from different geographical locations. Without even learning and lacking knowledge, you won't have the right structure in your mind to become the right facial expressions and body languages and your way of saying things. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it, to be able to open up certain opportunities for you just because of your lack of mental form. Because we're always building a structure out of it. And if your structure is limited, your way of expressing anything that you are aware of that you want to do in the world may be limited. So you might be aware of a lot of things and possibilities, but your way of going about it may be limited due to the fact of your upbringing, your indoctrination, and whatever you was privy to as far as what your parents introduced you to. So it's all about having a know-how. You could be aware of something all day. Without the know-how, it doesn't matter. You could be aware of math all day. Without knowing what 2 + 2 = 4 is, then it wouldn't matter. So you'll just be seeing a bunch of numbers. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about reading the patterns in character. Learning the mechanisms of something. Learning the mechanisms is another word that I use in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension when we practice it based upon what it is. Comprehension skills. When you're practicing comprehension skills, that's basically what you're doing. You're observing character and pattern. So comprehension is more tied to wisdom. And that's more important than intellect. So you don't have to use intellect for it. You can use intellect against it. Therefore, you don't look like you someone out here with a bias arguing for or against something. You see what I'm saying? See, when you have wisdom, that's more tied to comprehension. And when you have comprehension, you're more tied to being high vibrational because you're looking at the liquid and gas before it manifests into the solid, the body and the physical world outside of you, and the situations you attract via people, places, and things. So you're able to see the outcome of something, regardless if it appear to be good or bad in the current circumstance. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's something good in the current circumstance, you're able to see the outcome being not good for you, separate from it in the current situation. People may not understand it until the situation play out that you knew it was going to do anyway, and then people will see you even more powerful. They'll see you like, damn, can you read the future or whatever like that? I thought you quit the good job, but you actually in a better situation. How you do that? You know what I'm saying? And that's when you know you was closer to God and stuff like that. That's when you're more high vibrational. I hate to use the term high because it's more internal, external. Contraction, expansion. You know what I'm saying? Distance, closeness. Dimness, brightness. And then we square out the circle. Up, down, left, right. And stuff like that. Whereas that's technically not what it is. Because you could go up. But what's more powerful will be more up. So that lets you know up is just within a space. And it shares space with up, down, left, and right. So that's just squaring out the hemisphere, the circle. And the circles was most important. So what layer of the circle that you in? Is you in the most expanded one? You could think far out. So your spirit jump more into your lighter bodies, your gas and liquid, dreams and imaginations. And you go real far in a distant space, closer to God. So when you bring that back down to the solid physical world through your body and express it, you bringing some unknown shit down here, some one-of-a-kind shit, some shit that look like everybody else, but it ain't what you do. It's how you do it. How it's done, it look like some new, unique shit, one of a kind. Or are you the type of individual that's in vice versa? You low vibrational and stuff like that. You're more predicated on the solid world. So instead of you being more aware of comprehension and wisdom, you're more using intellect for intellect, not against it. So you're in a situation of observing patterns, but you're not having the comprehension skills of understanding character. So you'll get lost in patterns, expectations, without understanding the character. So anytime a pattern come with, or a different pattern come with the same characteristics, you'll get confused because it's a different pattern, aka it's a different person, different thing, different place, or the same person who coming at you with a different angle, a different way to lie to you or something like that. So it'll be a different pattern, same character behind it that leads to the same type of outcomes. You still might get cheated on. You still might lose your job. You still might go broke. You still might end up in jail. You still might end up under somebody's SUV. So for the most part, you need to understand that's when you're too low vibrational, for lack of better words, or you're too distant. Not distant, but you're too close. You're too dim in your darkness, or you're too contracted without expanding into different scenarios and situations with your spirit. So for the most part, you lack awareness and stuff. And then that can manifest as confusions when you don't understand and you're lost into the third dimension. So you don't know how to read character. You only know how to see patterns. So it's going to take you to go through a lot of different patterns, aka being a fool, a lot of different times before you can observe the character behind it, before you can observe the wisdom behind it. Therefore, you're wise enough to know that doesn't matter the face, doesn't matter the person, aka doesn't matter the pattern. If you feel the same vibe and you read the same characteristics, you know it's going to lead to the same outcome. So that's for my spiritual females out there also. Doesn't matter if the last homie had a box of chocolates and this homeboy got what you asked for. That 12 bucket of roses of flowers. You know certain characteristics that the person with the box of chocolates and the person with the box of flowers did that they do beyond the flowers and the chocolate. You should be able to read that now. So the different patterns is this pattern is flowers, this pattern is a box of chocolates, but this characteristics is dude may be distant, or dude may give you this vibe, or dude may give you this that represent the same energy of the same vibe that the box of chocolate dude gave you that led to the same outcome, him cheating on you. So you know the dude with the bucket of flowers is a different pattern, aka a different way that he might show the same character cheating on you. You see what I'm saying? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donation, lady. Sighting the flight boss. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Real stuff. Real stuff. I appreciate that. So you know when you're able to have wisdom, you're able to read the character. So you can even utilize, because a lot of people may not think this makes sense, but I always stand corrected, make correspondences. You can even utilize this with math. Having good comprehension and wisdom allows you to even know things, even if you don't know it. So even when you wrong somewhere down the line, you still right somewhere. Maybe small on a percentage scale. So larger on a percentage scale, if you making a mistake or being wrong, will allow other individuals or open up the heart chakras to give you grace, because they know the energy behind it was coming from a place that you genuinely was trying to be right anyway. You see what I'm saying? Without a narcissistic way of trying to be right to prove somebody wrong. You were genuinely trying to be right, and your facial expressions and body language is going to play out to give another person the energy behind it when their pilot senses start to tingle. Like, okay, this person really went through the thought process of really trying to do something that they thought was right. Not went through the thought process of really trying to say something to prove that they right about something based upon an ego or whatever like that. And both parties that do that, it could be a party that's playing it out for ego purposes and a person that's playing it out in ways that they genuinely trying to be right. They could both be having the same facial expression, right? Pattern, but the different energy behind it, aka character. So this is how you'll be able to decipher it in that way too, when you vice versa it, where sometimes you see the same patterns, but it might be different characters. So let's invert it this way, especially for my females out there. Homeboy might got a box of chocolates, and another homeboy might got a box of chocolates too. Or homeboy got a bouquet of flowers, and other homeboy got a bouquet of flowers too. So you'll automatically be caught into another energy that I broke down previously without having equilibrium. You might be like, oh, this the same traits right here too of the other person who cheated on me. So sometimes you still have to understand character beyond the pattern, because the pattern is like a numerology confusion with the mental path, and a lot of times it'll confuse you and stuff like that, where it'll make you judge the character based on the pattern also. So it'll be the same pattern, but it's somewhere down the line, if you ain't spiritual enough to be able to perceive that it still could be a different character. So don't prejudge either. And that might take a lot of foolish experiences to go through to develop that type of ability, to be able to see that and not make a lot of mistakes while doing that. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's a situation where it's like Both homeboys got a bouquet of flowers and things of that nature, but you should be able to see the energy. And it should be real easy to see because you'll see it play out through their actions. You know, last homeboy who cheated on you, who had a bouquet of flowers and things of that nature, played out that distant energy till you had to realize he had 10 kids. Dude right now who had the bouquet of flowers and stuff like that gave you certain energies to realize that he might not even got no responsibilities the way he giving me a little bit more time than this other individual. Therefore, when you're able to adjust that character right there, you're like, okay, this is a different character no matter if they got the same pattern. Both of them was into giving me a bouquet of flowers. You see what I'm saying? So on both sides of the spectrum, this allows you to have equilibrium when you know how to see both sides of the spectrum and you don't get lost and things of that nature. What's that? Real stuff. No good spiritual knowledge. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when you start to get into those energies and stuff, that's real shadow work right there. You know what I'm saying? And when you too distracted in the esoteric world and the external world and stuff like that, your esoteric energy lacks on a percentage scale. So a lot of times you're not even in a sufficient space yourself spiritually to even be ready to try to participate with a relationship or a job or a circumstance. You might need that shadow work and time to yourself and hermit mode energy to deal with all these things that you know that you're creating, that self-sabotaging, or the energy that you know you in that keep causing you to attract people, places, and things that you no longer want to attract, even if you're not on the negative end of the stick of doing the negative actions. You see what I'm saying? So whatever the end you on, you still, a lot of times, a lot of individuals may have to be alone and take that period to decipher their energies before they start to participate again, so they're not wasting anyone else's time along with their own, when they could have been taking that time to deal with themselves and then been ready to get ready, and now they're ready to go and present themselves to the world. Starry. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? These strong energies and stuff like that that we all have to persevere. And you know what I'm saying? And getting into this is just you doing the actual work. And when you're doing that behind closed doors, it's a weird energy that you develop as an aura that it plays out like whatever you do behind closed doors is like a practicing what you preach energy. So whatever you do externally, when you start to express yourself, you start to gain attraction in that area. Whether you play volleyball, basketball, content creator like me, or however the case may be, right? Because this is God looking at you like you're doing energy work in real life behind closed doors. So it's going to start to play out like that externally, and then there's going to be certain universal tests to see if you know how to deal with that attention. And the more you show God you don't know how to deal with it, and you create some narcissistic energy and try to make something appear to be more easier so it could go smoother for you without you dealing with all the necessary things you need to deal with to reach another plateau of it, that's when God gonna take that power away from you. You know what I'm saying? Because you wasn't using your mind when it was needed to be used. You wasn't using your actions when it was needed to be used. You wasn't using the gift and the ability that God gave you when it was needed to be used. You got it, accumulated a little bit from it, got comfortable, sat in some type of pope or popette seat as a male or female, and thought that everything else that you done was good enough and everything else should be handed to you and fall on your lap. And then once God see that, God see what once you have beautiful as gold turn into ugly. And God don't like ugly in that world, because your first body is your mind, and that's the environment. And at that point, God looking at you like you're creating hurricanes and stuff. I don't like that. Get that out of here. And that'll play out like in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, as like they say in the Bible. God said it never knew you, because the words is vibration. So being in that mentality is the word. That character is the word, and God ain't like that word. So that's God saying, I never knew you. Turn around. And as a spirit, you're like a demon getting thee behind God and having to go into a distant, deserted land to deal with yourself until you come back butt naked and clear and pure and direct, and your decisions is made, and you don't got all that trauma with you and stuff like that. And now God could work with you. You know what I'm saying? Because God could pour into you, or what they call that, being attained into, or what they try to say what God did to Jesus. I forget, it's in the Bible. God, because how can you be gave onto something you already are? Because it's a debate. What's that term? It's something like pour in or something like that, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, that's like God pouring in into you, and you're empty enough to be poured into. You're not empty if your cup full with a whole bunch of bullshit that you brought from a previous circumstance. You know what I'm saying? So this is God going to be like turning you away or whatever like that. But when you come naked, you come empty enough for God to fulfill everything that's supposed to be there. And that'll play out in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension as you having a sacrifice, having that little separation time, but you actually having enough time to fulfill and go through enough experiences to be around the right people, places, and things who need to be in your space. And that's God in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension fulfilling that naked space you came to God, so God can fulfill it what's supposed to be in your cup. Because you had a whole bunch of Jim Jones Kool-Aid in your cup. You know what I'm saying? And God needed you to pour that out so you could get this clear water, this pure water, Holy Gate water. You know what I'm saying? Esoteric rainbow water. So you can have your day to reign, R-E-I-G-N, down here on your throne, your crown, and your body that won't be demonic. It'll be a glorified body, not a Saturnalia body. You know what I'm saying? That always got deficiencies with the organs that develop as insecurities for us. But that's how you be like a good old little supreme spirit down here and get ready to put on your war gear for God with that kind of worship. The worship for God is the worship I teach y'all, where we're not worshiping some other spirit and they warlord, and we got to jump on their public transportation and let them take the wheel and never reach our final destination. Our worship for God is us actually creating a warship for God. So God give us all a sword, good logic, intellect. All a shield, good emotional intelligence, and blockages so we not open to let the external world and demon weapons direct our path somewhere else. So good shields to not feel wounded, good swords to fight, make others wounded because they got weak shields and weak swords to fight with. Then when we all come together with all of our spaceships, because that's what that is, our mind, we create a whole ship, a UFO ship. But what we doing with that ship? Going to war. And if we all fighting the powers that be, that look like that's a warship for the actual God right there. Where we the drivers, God, we in control, and we fail God if we don't take charge and fight the good fight and get up off our butt every day and let God use us as a vessel. See what I'm saying? When we sit around and be like, wait, we need a God to take the wheel for us too, we'd never get nowhere fast. God help those who help themselves. I know that's a hard thing to hear for a demon, a spirit that's in a demon space right now. They'd be like, no, I am a god, I am a goddess. No, what you're saying is wrong. No, God gonna save this. My God gonna save this. They really talk about a fallen angel that demons love being called God. It's gonna save this and stuff like that. But even these angels in their book tell them, God help those who help themselves. You just don't like to hear that because you want things easy for you and stuff like that. But when you help yourself, now you with God. See, you might not like the work. You don't like to fight for God then. See, is that what it is? See, you need someone to construct the words for you the right way to show you what you're doing. Or that Bible will lead you astray. And you think somebody's supposed to fight your battles. And when somebody like me say, no, you're supposed to fight your own battles, in your mind, it sounds like, oh, this is an angel trying to tell us we're supposed to be our own gods in a weird manipulating way trying to say we ain't. And is that you're too lost in that. Where even in your Bible it say God help those who help themselves. So stop searching for the demons in those Bibles that's calling themselves God. Do you understand? You're hearing it from one of the horse's mouth. You're looking at it wrong. You actually saying what I'm saying, but you're confused by a demon right now and the words they gave you to worship them. So you end up not knowing what you're saying while saying the same thing I'm saying. But when you say it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. When you say it, you give your power away to that warlord. When I said it's us taking our power back and actually doing what you try to do anyway, you forgot how to do it though. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to put in the work. That's the whole point. So you don't want to be a soldier for God. You want to get with some demon that like being called God promised you and you will never get. And anytime some real effort need to be put on for actual God, you ain't nowhere to be found. Which is why these are individuals right now that always feel separate. Always love trauma bonding. Always need to be around others. Can't deal with themselves when they're alone. Have to stay on the phone 24/7. Have to be around family. Have to have 10,000 relationships throughout 1 year. You know what I'm saying? These are those people. Because spiritually, that's the other spirits they amongst in the spirit world. Hell. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart, goddammit. And we're going to persevere. And tomorrow going to be even more goddamn different synchronicities and energies to jump into. Y'all keep y'all spirits protected, persevere, keep that aura around you, keep those boundaries there, and your spirit will run through the next situation and shift a lot more smoothly. Not up under the water, riding on top of it, with all of us as powerful spirits. Don't go no further than that, don't go no further than that, don't go no further than that. Flight tarot card reading.